great.
See them in the fall, and have a wonderful day, because it's a beautiful day.
It is indeed.
All righty.
Thank you, caller.
Bye-bye.
She didn't seem to have any questions. You're supposed to have a question. Just commentary. Mort, there's another caller trying to get in, I can see right now. At any rate, back to what were we talking about? We
were talking about saving taxes.
Consolidation.
And saving taxes.
Which we like to call saving taxes, because some people don't like the word consolidation.
Enhancing efficiency. I think that the caller did bring up one point that I think is also important to consider. Yes, we want to save taxes for folks, but when you also look at government efficiency, I think that's very important. When Rudy talks about downsizing the legislature, I think one of the important things that comes out of consolidating and shrinking government is accountability. You see a lot of people pointing fingers at each other. You see the county pointing fingers at the state, you see the towns pointing fingers at the county, and everybody says, oh, it's somebody else's fault. Well, when you start to consolidate and downsize, you have less people to point fingers at, and you have less people that you can point at and say, no, I think you're responsible for this.
What would they do
and
without
people being held accountable for their actions in government?
One of the guys that everybody used to point the finger at, they love to. Of course, the county exec is a guy you shoot at. Greg has had a lot of pot shots at him. And hello, Fred Crosscut. The first program I ever did was with Andy Goodell. And boy, they nailed him. They even passed a rumor around him about him. And that was that he was photographing license plates down in Erie of people running out of the county to save taxes on clothes, which was not true. But he didn't run the following semester. But he's running again. He's going for the assembly, and he's probably going to win Bill Parman's seat, I think. All right, back, Rudy. You were talking, and you were rudely interrupted by me.
Well, it's we're trying to get efficiency in government, and we have Lakewood's about 3,200 people. The entire town of Bustay is around 7,500. I mean, do we really need two governments, local governments? They overlap, and I think they'd run more efficiently. We'd actually have more competitive elections, which is also important when you have to go out and campaign and go door to door. You actually have to listen to the voters. You're much more responsible to them. And so we think we'll have a better government, a more competitive elections. One of the major problems that also affects our community is stormwater, flooding. The water comes out of Bustay, outside the village, and then it flows through the village. If we had one government, we think that we would more effectively be able to deal with the stormwater and flooding issues that affect people in Bustay and Lakewood and that harm our lake, all the sediment that gets in the lake. So it's more than just trying to lower taxes. It's also about better government, better governance, and so it's a very important thing, and many citizens in our community feel this is the right thing to do. We had 300 people sign this petition to get it on for a vote on August 25th.
Okay, August 25th, the people will have a chance to be heard. I think that your point about the numerous communities have the same situation, but so far it's never happened. Now, if one does go with this, what do you think will happen? Do you think the others will follow suit?
Our feeling is that once this ball starts rolling and somebody steps up to the plate and says, we're going to go first, we are going to do this and we're going to show that it works, and then we can stand up and say, look what worked for us. And other communities can look at us and say, how did you do that? And is it working well for you? And we can stand up and say, yes, this works well, come with us. Let's start to put the pressure on our elected officials to start cutting taxes, merging and solving problems together instead of just bickering back and forth.
Stick it to them. Okay, caller, thank you for waiting. We have another phone call. Who do you want to ask a question of?
Yes, I would like to ask one of the doctors a question.
Okay, doctor, go ahead.
I subscribe to a magazine for elderly people, and in the article it indicated that the doctor said, that he saw nothing wrong with the new health care provisions by the federal government, and absolutely no criticism of it. And therefore, I wonder if they would verify that it is a workable thing, or is it something that is bad for the
That's
country?
a good question. I'll let them both speak to the issue. My only comment is the health care, the new health care bill is basically a sham. It's a fraud, because the health care bill had to have universal health care in it. Every country in the world has universal health care except the United States, which pays an insurance company to decide what services you're going to get, and sometimes that's a teenager out of high school handling the desk. And the worst part is they skim off between 30 and 35% of every health care dollar for their profits and for their paperwork and for all the nonsense that goes on in their bloated wages. And it's outrageous what's going on. And Obama's bill did not include this thing in it at all. All it did was make everybody buy insurance, whether they could afford it or not. But in some cases, it'll be supplemented. Okay, go ahead. I've had my say. You're on. Who wants to talk first? Rudy, go ahead. What do you think of the new health care bill?
You know, it's not everything that I wanted. This is a democracy, and there's a lot of compromises in there. There are some good things in it. They help close the donut hole, which affects seniors. It should save some money on Medicare's end, long-term.
Donut hole, a lot of people don't understand that if you pay up to a certain amount of money for your drugs, if you use a certain amount, suddenly your Medicare stops. You don't get any more money from the government until you have another $5,000 or some crazy amount, right?
Yeah, and the other thing that was good, I think, is that it did expand coverage up to 26 years old for children that could remain on their parents, and it also made pre-existing conditions, got rid of that. But you know, there's a lot of weaknesses in the bill. But again, it was a compromise. Very powerful special interests in there, and this is what you get in a democracy.
The most powerful interests of all are the insurance companies, which have controlled trillions of dollars.
So you know, it's not perfect. I bet it is better than status quo, though, and so.
You think it's better? It's an improvement, for sure.
I think it's an improvement, and it's increasing the debate among Americans, and the public's much more knowledgeable about health care than they were 3-4 years ago. And I think what's going on in Lakewood and Bust-I with this voter initiative has definitely educated the public on their function of their government. They're much more informed, though I think there's a lot of disinformation.
You're a very liberal doctor, obviously, because you know the AMA for years fought universal health care, and they probably still, many of them are, but they have switched over, I've noticed. Yeah. They realize we can't go on like this. You just can't keep paying 30% of all the goddamn dollars, excuse me, all the dollars that are spent on health care to insurance companies.
Well, you probably should let Chris answer the question too, because we don't always agree on everything.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think. Thank you for the opportunity. I think that's an interesting thing in the context of what we're talking about in the village of Lakewood. That someone had brought up at one time, that is this a difference between Republican and Democrat issue, and I can assure you that Rudy and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
So you're the Republican, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
And Rudy, I know he's
and I think this is one of those instances as well. And when we look at what we're talking about, which is saving taxes and shrinking government, the goal of the healthcare overhaul was certainly admirable, to take care of folks who need to be taken care of.
50 million Americans who have no insurance at all.
But when you look at what the cost of this program is, and the monstrosity that it's become, and the things that went into it, the fact of the matter is we're gonna the full effect of the law doesn't go into place for another 4 years. But taxes are going to start accumulating this year, so you're going to provide essentially 4 or 5 years of full coverage with 10 years of taxes. Well, what happens after that first 10 years? are you going to not cover for another 4 years to pay for the next 10 years? The fact of the matter is you're going to bankrupt the system in the second 10 years unless you come up with another way to pay for it.
Well, we'll just print money like we're doing for the
Well,
wars.
right. And the first
And the banks, we're giving the banks
analysis,
trillions of dollars, that's no problem.
The analysis now is that, you know what, you're going to have to reduce coverage that already exists for seniors. Either that or they're going to have to pay more for it. Or I think it's important for people my age to read senior news articles and senior newspapers, because the fact of the matter is 20 years down the road, you know, Social Security is probably not going to be there for me.
Well, there's $8 trillion
Medicare is not going to be there for me.
Chris, there's a trust fund which has $8 trillion in it.
And it's full of IOUs.
It's like Patty and Murphy, you know. Patty dies, and at the funeral, Murph goes over and fiddles around with the casket. His wife says, "What were you doing over there?" He says, "Well, you know, Patty, I've owed him $10,000 for 10 years now. I just gave him a check. I paid him off." That's what happens.
right.
That's what's going on with the Social Security Fund. They keep telling us they want to save it. They keep taking the excess, which still is flowing in, a little excess, and poof, it disappears into the regular budget to fight their stupid wars over in Afghanistan, which is only enriching the arms makers, especially the Halliburton and that crowd, you know, who are cheating and stealing and everything. And, well, the ex-president, vice president ran it for a long time, you know. And the Carlyle Group, which was run by the Bushes for a while.
Go ahead. Reed, I mean, obviously people are very upset with our government, you know, for many different reasons. The taxes are high. This is an elector-initiated chance. The voters have a chance.
To Lakewood now.
In Lakewood.
We're going to keep taking you back to
I thought we were having
We're going to keep taking you back to the appropriate
I thought we were at a higher level of discussion.
and
the only people who care is what, 7,000 people in Lakewood.
Well, 3,200, and they have a chance to actually
3,200 people in Lakewood.
to consolidate their local governments and to lower taxes, to make the government more cost-effective and efficient over the short term and the long term, and improve the business climate and the.
I think we've got the picture. It'd be good. It'd be good.
Well, it's interesting that the timing of the situation right now is actually very important, because you'd say, well, why can't we do this 4 years down the road? An interesting spot we're in right now is a renegotiation of the police contracts, which will be coming up in a year, right? Mm-hmm. And so if the vote were to go forward and we were actually to pass this referendum, during the negotiation phase between the town and the village, the police contract comes up as well. And so what a great opportunity right now to solve the cost sharing issue for policing between the town and the village in the context of the merger of the town and the village. Okay. And that's an opportunity you have right now, and you won't have that situation won't come up where all of those things can happen at the same time. This is the opportunity we have. This is the time to do it. The dominoes are all lined up just right for the people of the village to make this happen, and the success of it is totally dependent on whether people in the village want to save taxes, have a more efficient government.
We're repeating ourselves, Chris.
Well, we are. I think it's important for people to understand that this is their chance.
We're talking 3,200 people. Now let's talk about the other 130 people in Chautauqua County. Can we do that for a minute?
Sure.
I wanted to, first of all, switch to the schools. Now we have the same situation with schools. And they're trying to consolidate the schools. We're sitting in a successfully consolidated school. This, well, next to one. We were in one before. And it cost not a nickel to put that beautiful school up. It was 100, well, back then it was 30-some odd million, it'll be 100 million now. State paid for everything. They saved a lot of taxes and a lot of hassle. Saved buildings, heating, maintenance, teachers. And that's a real winner for saving.
It's a beautiful school and campus, and I think Chautauqua County has really benefited from, you know, obviously the students, the children that go to that school. It's really a great school. You know, people. I disagree with you a little bit about it didn't cost a penny. Well, it cost the state taxpayers, which we all,
I'm talking about the folks back here. But, you know, we have nothing to do with all. You know, the whole state is government is run by downstaters.
But it's a beautiful school, and if we could consolidate some school districts and get more children to go to that school, I think that would be great. I think you know, the elementary schools really should stay where they're at. But we could consolidate some high schools.
There you go.
And we could get some administrative savings. We could actually improve AP courses, the coaching, more athletics, more music programs, other programs, offer other, AP. I see AP.
Stand by, caller. He'll be finished.
I see AP programs where, there's only 6 children in it. If we had
Stupid.
larger high schools, you
Of course.
could.
Ripley is an example, and